I got a question for you again. This time I'm very curious about your answer about, for decades people talk about Mozart effect, or many people use classical music to when they work or they study, they listen to classical music to calm or to be more focused, because there are many scientific reports. But why these days, 30, 40 years, more and more people doing the sound therapy using the gong, cymbal, without melodies, melodies. This is a big topic, so please follow us to the end. If you haven't subscribed our YouTube channel, please hit the button of the subscription, and also press the bell, select all the notification, and give us a thumb up. Yes, what's the comparison?
Yeah, well, I think
classical music.
I think the first thing to say is that listening to music, you're talking about classical music, can have a therapeutic impact on people, and it has done for centuries.
Many parents, they buy the classical music for kids in Asia for them.
Remind you that, well, Mozart, if we're talking about the Mozart effect, if this is the composer that the researchers used, Mozart can be more than just relaxing, and I think classical composers would take issue with the notion that what they were doing was creating music that would be more, that merely would relax. It can concentrate you, it can enervate you, I think, as well. It can kind of excite you and make you really want to go out and do, leap up and want to go and do something as well. But the crucial point is that classical music, for the most part, has a key component of it is melody. That's the thing. Melody. Tunes.
Yeah, tunes. Yeah.
Let's call it.
What's the difference with...
our sound therapy instruments that commonly use, gongs and singing bowls, etc., don't create melodies.
Even the vocal.
Vocals. Of course, we can tone, as we call it.
Tone with other instrument, but vocal
we can tone in a non-melodic way. And of course, we can sing a tune. So the voice is very versatile.
Yes. So what's the difference?
What's the difference?
Melody
I think, and why is it that sound instrument? We'll talk perhaps specifically about the gong. Has become so popular as a form of therapy, as opposed to the therapeutic benefit of music. And I think it's got something to do with the way that it floods the space and floods the mind and floods the space when you're lying down or you're sitting up even. Any distractions that you might have, they will gradually dissipate. It's certainly a really fantastic aid to people use it as native meditation, but I think that's the reason. It kind of it's flooding effect. It's such a dense, thick
It's the first time I heard about the flooding effect.
I think the flooding effect.
First one, flooding effect. And how about the second?
That's a nice word to use.
Yes. The second?
The second, what's that?
What's the difference with the two?
Oh, I see.
Melodical and non-melodical.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think you see with a classical piece, particularly if it's something that we know and we like already, like Mozart's very popular, and people know those pieces and they want to hear them again. It's people, not just classical music, particularly pop music. People really love to hear their favourite pop song over and over again. They sing it. You're talking about singing. They sing along to it. They dance around to it. They kind of, the fact that they know it, that's the kind of thing that they enjoy. Whereas with the the abstract nature of the sound of the gong and other instruments means that there's no reference point.
No, you never know
the other
what
word.
happened. Yeah.
The other phrase actually is there's no reference point. And I think it means that it clears the slate and it helps to clear our mind and to create a new vistas of possibility. That's the way I would describe it.
So you never can figure out what happened next, right?
Yeah.
So that will cut through your brain because you listen some melodical music, especially you are familiar with. You think, oh yeah, we know what's the story going on.
Even I would like to argue, people could say, well, what about improvised jazz, where the saxophone players making up as they go along? Nobody's ever heard it before, not even the saxophone player, and the guy on the double bass behind him hasn't heard it either.
And so that's the same situation.
Well, you see, they're improvising, and so are gong players when they're playing. They're improvising to perhaps some framework. But generally speaking, jazz musicians or improvising musicians of any sort will tend to use melody. Melody is an essential part, and so you can follow the melodic lines, and it does give you a reference point in a way that the abstract nature of gongs doesn't, I would say. Yeah.
So that's a benefit for the sound therapist.
Well, I think it is in the sense that it kind of wipes the slate clean. I think that's the point. Although some people would argue that the most intense forms of improvised music, of course I agree with them, can also have these beneficial impacts as well, and can even take you into a higher state of consciousness.
In Asia, like Japan, like China, we have the history, like singing bowl, like, how do you say that, striking the wooden instrument, just like in the temple, or
boing.
We have no melody. Yeah, you can say that they got the beats, but sometimes it's without beats. Very zen, you just go to the very zen zone. What's going on? What's going on next? You never figure out what's happening. It's very zen in the other way. Yeah, so I think the two reasons very different, and that's why I think it's not the reason why people like sound therapy now, right? It's because the instruments we use or the environment is very different setup with classical music.
Oh yeah, you can't underestimate that, of course. I mean, I think that how do people listen to classical music? How do people
the concert hall
encounter gongs? I mean, lying down in a darkened room does help, to create a kind of, and particularly when this is a subject which is really important, and it's kind of the elephant in the room.
Elephant.
You know this English phrase? It's the big issue that we're not actually bringing into the conversation that will probably be the subject of another video.
So the elephant will hit the wall?
No, it's the notion of intention. This is the thing that really makes the difference, that is kind of lacking from when we're listening to classical music, and that when we're using gongs in a therapeutic context, it's the intention that's being brought into the proceedings.
Oh, so do you mean that the violins, the pianists, they don't have intention when they play? No?
No, not in the same way at all. No.
They try to play very good,
absolutely.
Exclusive.
Yeah, that's not the same.
Top of the
that's
world.
not the same thing. Yeah. That's not. Of course, we all, whenever we're doing anything creative, we try and do our best to do as best as we can. That's really not the same kind of intention we're talking about when we're talking about intention in a sound therapy context.
Oh, okay. The intention is a very good topic. We'll see you next time, because next week we are talking about intention. Stay tuned. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Bye.